All right, guys, welcome to another exciting episode of the Left Side View with Rahul and Amitabh. So, this is the review part one episode wherein we will review all the matches that took place yesterday in all the top five leagues. So, Amitabh, where do we begin?
Yeah, I know. So let's start with the team that won the Spanish Copa del Rey yesterday, Real Betis, who squared off against Valencia. They came up trumps after 90 minutes of normal time, 30 minutes of extra time, and then finally penalties. The Valencia youngster, again, not really good with names. He
Yunus Musa.
shot his, yeah, he shot his shot over the crossbar and huge deal. Both the teams, I think these are the biggest teams, so as to speak, in Spain after, of course, Madrid, Barcelona, and Atletico. So they have huge fan bases, and all of them were there cheering their team. And a wonderful final and a great. I mean, it's nice that all their hard work has paid off, and they've got at least something to show for every effort that they have put in this year. So Betis come up with the sports Copa del Rey championship. Rahul?
Yeah, both the teams, rested a few key players in their midweek matches in La Liga, keeping an eye on this match. But obviously, the fact that it was Real Betis, who eventually won. Two great goals actually. One, a great header from Borja Iglesias, and then Hugo Duro, I think, yeah. Again, a great chip, a dink, and a great goal, a great equalizer. But then again, both the teams created so many chances. And again, so much history behind this competition because obviously you don't really see teams like these two in the final. You usually see the Real Madrids and the Barcelonas of the world, competing for this final. So it's a great opportunity for these two teams to win some silverware. And yeah, Manuel Pellegrini winning another trophy, this time as the manager of Real Betis. I think another good stat or something that I read was about this 40-year-old Spanish player, Joaquin. Joaquin, I guess I'm not pronouncing it right, but yeah. So they won this trophy. Real Betis won this trophy 17 seasons ago when he was just 23, and now he's 40 years old. And back then, when he won it in 2005, he got married after winning this trophy, and the Copa del Rey trophy was actually made of honor in his wedding. And he also wears the number 17 on the back of his shirt. So yeah, winning this trophy again after 17 seasons. So a lot of the things, uh, yeah, maybe just were written. So yeah, a great match and a great result for Real Betis. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about Joaquin, now he was actually contemplating retirement, but he's like maybe he'll extend by one more year. He's in his 40s right now. Even if he does not, he already has like a couple of TV deals in place. So yeah, a great servant for the club, and he has won two out of their three Copa del Rey championships. So that is a huge thing. Good luck to him. Okay, keeping in vein of talking about champions, PSG drew their match against Law yesterday, and yeah, Messi scored a great goal from distance. Again, a beautiful left kick that went into the top corner, and an assist for Neymar, who actually was pretty toothless in the entire game. There was a red card for Danzo, and again, not sure how to pronounce it, Jean or Jean. He equalized for Law, and yeah, the match ended 1-1. That was all that PSG required. So well done to them. They are the Liga champions in the first championship of note for Pochettino. And yeah, the media went berserk because of the Messi goal, and now giving all sorts of stats, that Messi has won a championship in two countries now. So, Rahul?
Yeah. So something that I probably noticed was, I mean, Lens usually play with a back three, but then PSG being, the champions or champions elect, they didn't really, continue with the way they were playing. They didn't uh, play with a back four. They're the ones who actually switched their formations to match the formation of Lens. They switched to a back three. There have been times when maybe because of the fact that Sergio Ramos hadn't really been injury free a lot of those times. Otherwise, had Sergio Ramos stayed free, maybe we would have seen this switch to a back three a lot sooner. Because obviously we know that someone like Ashraf Hakimi as well, he also suits his game also suits a back three, But yes, we finally saw, Sergio Ramos, Marquinhos, and even Kimpembe playing together. Even someone like Nuno Mendes, who's just 18, 19 years old, great as a wing back, has got oodles of pace. I mean, yeah, but then again, maybe it was the first time they were playing in this formation, so maybe they just needed some time, or maybe they already knew that 1 point is enough, so they didn't really need to get out of the first gear. I mean, they got the job done right, so that's what I would say. Other than that, so many rumors, so many things, like what's going to happen next. Is Pochettino going to stay or is he not going to stay? Other than that, even Neymar was interviewed and he was like, PSG fans can stop whistling because they'll just get tired of doing that because he still has 3 years left on his contract. He's not leaving. So there are rumors that Keylor Navas could leave because he's not happy with the game time, or rather the lack of it, because obviously they've invested so much money on such a highly rated youngster, the young goalkeeper Donnarumma. So I mean, obviously, I don't really think Donnarumma is going to leave. So it has to be Keylor Navas. And let's see what they can do. Like is it going to be Zidane now, who's going to be in the dugout from next season? So a lot of question marks surrounding PSG.
A lot was made about the celebration, not only from the player side. Of course, there are uncertain futures there, but also the ultras or the ultras, as they are called in Europe. So a lot of them actually left the stadium and they celebrated this, away from the team. Basically, that was basically to show their protest about the performance of the team in totality this year. Because when the summer break happened last year around, PSG did make some on paper they made some great additions to the squad with Donnarumma, Ramos, Messi, of course. So they were touted to do better than what they had been doing, but unfortunately, it was like they always used to sweep the domestic titles, but this time around, this is the only title they've got even domestically, and in Champions League we also how they floundered. So the supporters are not really happy. Let's see what additions are made now, more modifications made. Of course, there are so many players who are not happy with the kind of game time that they're getting in the club. There are so many players who want to go out to different clubs. Again, there's a question mark over the coach also. Pochettino in his midweek press conference said, "I will be at PSG because I have a 2-year contract." So if he says things like that, obviously will not be a crowd favorite. So yeah, the politics will keep going on at PSG through through the entire season.
Yeah, I think we can move on from PSG.
Okay, now, the next champions that were crowned yesterday, Bayern Munich, they squared off against Borussia Dortmund at home, and I mean, for a brief period in the first half, hardly 7-10 minutes, it looked like Dortmund would do something, but again, they flattered to deceive. And once the first goal was scored by Gnabry in the 15th minute, I think it was all done and dusted from there. Lewandowski added a second on the 34th. Emre Can got a penalty I mean, Dortmund got a penalty which was converted by Emre Can, and finally Musiala scored in the 83rd minute. So 3-1 victory to Bayern Munich. They wrap up the Bundesliga title. And again, the Bundesliga title celebration has to be like one of its own on the planet. I mean, the amount of beer they waste is absolutely criminal. And yeah, that is the tradition, I guess. So, I mean, they must have planned for it because the fact that they got so much beer onto the field, it's like getting those champions on jersey ready just in case the result is in your favor. So I'm sure they had it on hold. So yeah, well done to them, Bundesliga champions. Just like PSG, another team that has always done well domestically, and they generally evaluate their performance through their performance in the Champions League. And if you look like, from that point of view, I think um, their underwhelming performance, both in the pre-quarterfinals against Salzburg and in the quarters against Villarreal, when they were eventually knocked out. Um, Again, they have things to sort out. Shout out for Muller, Thomas Muller, his 11th Bundesliga title. Good one. And I read somewhere, I think overall, this was the 31st title for Bayern Munich, and all the rest have, cumulatively 123. So, yeah, that is primarily the reason I don't think Bundesliga is still on the world map. Yeah, you know,
I mean, yeah, Bayern with their 10th title in a row. Like, you talk about dominance, right? Uh, yeah, we can. I mean, at least I thought that. Yeah, I mean, it's all about mentality, right? Like, I didn't think that Dortmund would compete. I mean, I was just looking at Dortmund's bench as well. Just didn't really have anyone. I mean, even when it was time to make substitutions, some youngster came on, and there you look at Bayern Munich, they are bringing on some player who can walk into any team in the world. Yeah, so I mean, there's a gap. We've talked about this before. Even Nicolas Villa came on, for Bayern Munich in the end. Uh, he's joining Dortmund now. So yeah, Haaland again looked out of sorts. I mean, even Marco Rosa was asked in his post match conference about Haaland that he didn't really look focused and all that stuff. But then he said that he has been injured a lot, and obviously he wouldn't really say that no, he was not focused or that he's leaving right away. So yes, because they still have 3 games left to play, and they would want to finish as high as possible. Make sure that they finish second, which I guess is still. I don't really think it's impossible, but yeah, I guess they would like to finish on a high. Maybe give some more youngsters a chance, try to see what they can do with the squad that they have, and see in what direction that they can go. But yeah, a disappointing season again. At least last season they won the DFB Pokal, but this season just total disappointment all around.
yeah. I mean, if this was supposed to be Haaland's last appearance in Bayern versus Dortmund match, at least for the time being. Uh, I mean, his injury was for everyone to see. He was literally limping in the second half. So yes, he gave everything he had, but unfortunately, as you know, it is for most of us. It is not enough for a team against a team like Bayern Munich. Moving on, Leipzig faced off Union Berlin again. So they actually had a semi-final clash in the DFB Pokal Cup earlier in the week, which Leipzig won. This time it was Union who actually turned the tables. Leipzig took the lead through Paulson at the start of the second half, 46th minute, and they almost clung on, but then they did not in the 9 minutes of the second half. Union Berlin scoring 2 goals in the 86th and the 89th minute, coming away with all 3 points. So this result has actually made the third and fourth place playoff in the Bundesliga quite interesting with Leverkusen on 55, Leipzig on 54, and Freiburg on 52. So yeah, let's wait and watch what happens in the next 3 games. Freiburg also drew their match 3-3 against Mönchengladbach. So it was actually at home. If they had won it, they would have been level on points. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Rahul, your views on the Leipzig match and on the Freiburg match?
I mean, so yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was actually a very important match for Union as well, because the team that finishes fifth in the Bundesliga will actually qualify for the Europa League, and team that finishes sixth will qualify for the Conference League. So yes, for Union, they need to finish sixth so that they can qualify for the Europa Conference League. So yes, and the fact that they already played Leipzig 3 days before this match, so maybe they had revenge on their mind as well. So it was actually total domination from Union. I mean, in the first half, Leipzig did not have a single shot on target, and then yes, something that Vesco said or did that uh, towards the opening of the second half. Paulson opened the scoring for Leipzig, but then yes, that maybe they knew what they were playing for. They knew that their Europa Conference League place was at stake. So yes, they turned up, and yeah, they scored 2 goals. A great performance overall from Union. Other than that, I think Freiburg versus Mönchengladbach again, two teams who have been a little inconsistent. Freiburg, especially at home, whereas Gladbach, who have been so disappointing this season, but for some reason turned up in this match, scored 3 goals. And yes, I think it's more like points dropped for Freiburg than a point gained from Gladbach because Freiburg had such a great opportunity, right? Like they could have probably uh, competed. I mean, they still can because it did look like that there was a time when Leipzig would actually not only finish fourth but even finish third. So the fact that even Leipzig have dropped points now, so there is an opportunity for other teams, especially Freiburg, to catch up with them. So yes, a disappointing result overall for Freiburg.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see what happens. At least there is some competition in the Bundesliga as well. Moving on to Serie A, Venezia squared off against Atalanta, and Atalanta who've been having this, horrendous loss of form just at the wrong moment of the season. They actually came away with 3-1 victory here. Pasalic, Zapata, and Muriel scoring for them. There was a late goal for Venezia as well, but yeah, a pretty routine victory. But even after this victory, yeah, they're still 4 points shy of Roma, who have played a game more. Let's see. Again, it's all about since there are so many, stakeholders here. Um, uh, Results may go your way if the two teams above you clash and then they hold out a draw or something like that. But then the fact is the time is running out. Let's see if something miraculous happens. But yeah, a pretty standard victory for Atlanta yesterday. Rahul?
I mean, yeah, we kind of predicted, a bounce back from Atlanta after losing three in a row. So yes, that's what happened. I mean, a team against a team like Venezia, which is I think in the relegation battle. So yeah, it was kind of expected. Um, Shout out to I guess Chelsea's Ethan Ampadu on loan at Venezia. He was probably the only bright spark for them. But again, I mean, I don't really think that they would be too disappointed with this result or with this match because they knew that they were playing against a team like Atalanta, who had been coming off the back of such a disappointing run of form. So they knew that they would have to bounce back, and they did. I mean, they actually had a chance to open the scoring, but yes, maybe had they opened the scoring, I mean, had VAR not disallowed that opportunity, that goal, maybe things would have been different. But because of the fact that it was ruled out by VAR, and then yes, Atlanta just put on all the pressure, and yeah, we saw someone like Muriel and Zapata actually start together. We don't really see that happen too often. It's usually either Zapata or Muriel, and the other one comes off the bench. And another Chelsea Dhoni actually Mario Pasalic, and even uh, so yeah, some Chelsea unknown and former players like Jeremy Boga, Pasalic, and Ethan Ampadu on display. I mean, you look at any team, and there's at least some connection with Chelsea. But yeah, a good match for Atlanta. But again, it's like too little, too late.
Yeah. Moving on, we had Inter against Roma, and yes, I was backing Roma. It was more out of hope rather than pure facts. And again, for a brief 10-15 minute period, it looked like Roma would hold their own. But then it's all about the first goal, and especially in this match, the manner of the first goal. Oh my God, those 4, 5, 6 touches that the Inter players took, finally leading to Dumfries who scored the goal. It was such a beautiful goal. And I think from there on in, again, as they say, the writing was on the wall. The second goal was scored by Brozovic, his second in 2 games. So yeah, and soon after the halftime, Lautaro Martinez scored from a corner ahead. So yeah, 3-0, and the match was done and dusted. Mkhitaryan responded for Roma late in the second half, 85th minute. But yeah, I think yes, this result was expected. Of course, this result was expected, but this also gives a very good, target for Roma to understand where they are and where they need to be. So again, a lot of work needs to be done in the summer. They have to be proud with the way they have performed this season because, yeah, I mean, the squad is nothing special in all honesty, and they have done well, especially after that. How do I put it? Unexpected loss to Juve. They were on a 12-13 game unbeaten streak, whatever. So they do have that, mental fortitude as well. Now they just need to pick and choose the right personnel and of course go ahead next season. Yeah, Inter doing their bit for the title race. Let's see how AC Milan perform tonight. Rahul?
I mean, yeah, there's so much to say about this match. Yeah, uh, I mean, all good teams at least, not the United or the Tottenham team of Mourinho, but all the good teams that came before those teams managed by Mourinho. They've all come. They've been built on great defense. I mean, John Terry, Ricardo Carvalho, and maybe someone else at Porto, even Inter Milan, Lucio, Walter Samuel, Christian Kivu, Javier Zanetti, Maicon. I mean, the list, just goes on and on. But yeah, and you look at the defense that Roma have. I mean, Chris Smalling, Roger Ibarne, Gianluca Mancini, like seriously. So obviously, we all know for a fact that this defense is nowhere good enough, to the defense that Mourinho desires. And when you look at that midfield, I mean, it's threadbare, right? They don't just have a defensive midfielder. I mean, they only have Cristante, who was again missing. Zaniolo again got a yellow in the match before this, I think against Napoli, so wasn't available for this match. Uh, Other than that, all the midfielders that they have, they're all attacking. They all have attacking tendencies. But Sergio Oliveira playing again as a defensive midfielder, but again, that's not his natural game. He doesn't really have the defensive capability. Even someone like Mkhitaryan, he's actually more of an attacking player. Uh, Lorenzo Pellegrini again, so good. Other than that, I think we've got to talk about the fact that the signings as well that Mourinho has made, not all of them have actually clicked. Uh, I mean, the striker Shmodurov or whatever hasn't really done much since Mourinho signed him. You talk about the defender, the left back Matthias Minia again, uh, played initially, but then maybe Mourinho hasn't really been impressed with him, which is why he has actually started this Nicolo Zalewski, the Polish or Italian midfielder from their academy, and has converted him as a wing back instead of playing someone like Matthias Vinia. And now that even someone like Leonardo Spinazzola is also back. So I think that maybe he could even leave Roma after just one season. Similarly, there's another player that they signed on loan, someone like uh, Maitland Niles from Arsenal. I mean, obviously it's a straight loan, but he played in January when he arrived, played 3-4 games. But again, since then, hasn't really played much. You even talk about the defender, their goalkeeper, Patricio. I still kind of feel like, was he really the best choice out there to sign as a goalkeeper? I mean, maybe he only signed him because he's Portuguese. I don't know. But then there are better goalkeepers, and on top of that, younger goalkeepers available. So yes, but again, at the same time, a lot of this has been about the mentality of the players. Yes, I mean, like they still have an opportunity to win a trophy. They can still uh, beat Leicester and then go to the final of Conference League. So if Roma can actually win a trophy, that will be again, like Mourinho again will be in a godlike status for Roma fans who haven't really won a trophy in God knows how long. So yes, which is why it would also give him legitimacy and credibility, right? Because if he wins a trophy, then at least when the season ends and he goes to Thiago Pinto, the director, and then he talks about signing players and demands a few more signings, maybe that will give him a better crack at signing the players that he wants. So uh, if they finish fourth or fifth, but as long as they finish a trophy as well, I think it'll still be a great season for Jose Mourinho and Roma. But again, great record, great show in terms of where they are and where they need to be. Even Mourinho said that Inter Milan have animals, and he said that in a good way. That all these, I mean, just look at the midfield that they had: Barella, Brozovic, Chalanoglu, like, and then look at the defense of Roma and compare that with the defense of Inter. I mean, again, it's a different team, different squad altogether. So that's, he knows where they are, and he also knows where they want to take these players. So obviously, not all of these players will go there, but whoever does, great for that player. But yes, investment and is required clearly. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mourinho does have a habit of winning at least something in his first year, which he could not manage only at Spurs. So yeah, so let's see. Let's see.
He
All the
could have,
best
to
to
be
him with
honest.
Roma.
I mean, he could have, right? It's just that he was sacked just before that final Carabao, 6 days before the final.
Yeah.
But yeah, just one more thing before we move on from this match, I guess. In the 72nd or third minute, I guess, Inter fans just chanting Jose Mourinho. Wow. I mean, yeah. So great. Obviously, he won the treble. So obviously, man, they will always have at least a special place in their hearts for someone like Jose Mourinho.
Yes. Yes. Okay. We can move on to the Premier League now. Uh, okay. So the first match yesterday was Arsenal against Manchester United. Arsenal started really well, taking the lead in the third minute through Tavares. Then they got a penalty, which was converted by Saka. Ronaldo responded in the 34th minute. They also got a penalty, which was surprisingly taken by Bruno Fernandes, and he missed. He hit the post. And yeah, from there on in, United sort of had the upper hand. But then in the middle of the second half, when Xhaka scored, from there on, it was just smooth sailing. Um, there was a tackle by Bruno Fernandes that really looked horrible in slow motion, and I don't know. Again, for most teams, that would have been a red card. Surprisingly, only a yellow or maybe nothing for Bruno there. Yeah, there was some talk about the referee favoring Arsenal in the match, but then I think it was another another toothless performance. And if United lost yesterday, it was not because of those refereeing decisions. They had their chances and they could not take it. Fair as I mean, yeah, that is how I would like to put it. And I was just wondering about someone like a Sancho who was who did everything he could a couple of years ago to join this team. And last year, when he finally joined, this is the mess he has been in. I really wonder if he now thinks that he actually should have stayed at Dortmund. I mean, that is not, the best place in the world as well, but this mess is tough to take at his stage, or at the stage of his career that it is right now. So, yeah, but again, these games were supposed to be difficult for Arsenal, and they've actually come up with 6 points, Chelsea and Manchester United. So they have stayed their claim for that fourth position as well. We can also talk about the game that actually complements this game, Brentford against Tottenham, which ended in a nil-nil draw. And quite spectacularly, it was the second game when Tottenham did not have a single goal on target. So their forward line seems to have just lost their edge at really a crucial and a so important point in the season. And yeah, even Conte said after the match that they're still in it and they'll do everything. If you had asked this to me in November, um, again, this would have been a far-fetched to reality and all that stuff. So he was sort of giving him and his team a compliment that at least we have made it this far, that we have been taught about it. But once you are in that position, I think you don't want to be counted as also as you want to, achieve your target. So a great result for Arsenal on both counts. They won the match and Tottenham lost, grew this. Now,
I mean, yeah, they're missing someone, creative spark, I guess, and that creative spark was actually on display for Brentford. Someone like Christian Eriksen. I mean, again, for me, like he's available on a free. I don't think there are better deals available than this one. Like seriously, he's available on a free. He has already played for Tottenham. On top of that, he has already played for Conte as well at Inter Milan. I mean, if if he doesn't rejoin Tottenham, I think I would be so surprised, to be honest. As long as like if he can maybe go to an even bigger club, then maybe yes. But the fact that if Tottenham manage to finish in the top four and then he doesn't join Tottenham, I would be so surprised. Like seriously, even there was an interview, with Jamie Redknapp, and he again spoke about Tottenham. So obviously you can see that he didn't really expect to be back. He didn't really expect to be back in the Premier League, and he didn't really expect to be back, playing for a London club. So yeah, and the fact that it's a short-term contract, he's going to be available on a free. So it just makes so much sense right now. Um, I mean, Brentford have actually got a. I mean, it's actually because of Ericsson in a way that before January or towards January, it looked like Brentford were actually uh, going to get relegated or at least get drawn into that relegation battle. But it was his signing. His signing is more like a perfect uh, January signing, right? Because of him, he lifted the spirits of Brentford, and all of a sudden, I mean, they beat someone like Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, even got a point against Tottenham in this match. So yeah, uh, kudos. I think he probably saved or at least elevated Brentford's season.
Yeah, it was actually. I just forgot to say one thing. Brentford would actually count themselves unlucky because they hit the bar, they hit the post. Ivan Tony. So they should have thought. I mean, they should have considered themselves, very unlucky that they did not come up with all 3 points. Your views on the Arsenal United match now?
Oh man, I mean, again, a disappointed. My only problem with that match is that Arsenal. I mean, obviously, I actually predicted Arsenal to win, but yes, at the same time, I just feel that after these two matches, after these two losses against Liverpool and now Arsenal, all of a sudden their next match is against Chelsea, and they're going to turn up against Chelsea. I mean, I probably understand why Ronaldo didn't take the penalty as well. Maybe he was just not in that right frame of mind, I guess. Uh, I mean, again, it's like in hindsight, yes, obviously it was a bad decision, had but maybe if Bruno Fernandes had actually converted from the spot, then it would be a different result altogether. But again, I mean, Maguire, we didn't even talk about Maguire. He was actually taken out of the squad uh, by Ragnick. I mean, I guess it's come like too late now, but I don't know. Like maybe even he's gonna come back against Chelsea. Even he's gonna put in a great performance. I don't know. Um, and all of a sudden, there were rumors that there was a bomb scare at his house. He was asked to resign or leave the club. I mean, oh man, like so many problems with United. I mean, players or fans are going to such an extent to uh, get their own player leave the club. I don't think I've seen something like this before. But again, good result again. For us, for Arsenal, I think so many injury concerns, but they were just so efficient playing at home against a clueless, disillusioned, helpless United side. I mean, I don't know, man. People who blame Ronaldo, oh man, I mean, it's because of Ronaldo they're at least even in this conversation. Without Ronaldo, they probably would be in the relegation zone, man. They, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, United can't wait for the season to finish. And let's see. It was actually Eric Ten Hag. I read somewhere that he wants Eriksen. So yeah, let's see. Let's see. Obviously, he'll be a very popular figure in the summer, and let's see how that turns out. There were three other matches. Leicester drew at home against Aston Villa. Manchester City won 5-1 against Watford. Gabriel Jesus scoring 4 goals and was the assist for the others for the other that was scored by Rodri. And in Newcastle, again, convincing win 3-0 over Norwich. Jolinton with a couple of goals and Guimaraes scoring another goal after the two he scored in the previous match. So, yeah, I think these were pretty expected results. Rahul, your views on any of these matches or all of these matches?
I mean, yeah, City, Watford, the less we say, the better, I guess. Uh, Leicester, Aston Villa again. I think Aston Villa. You mentioned last time out they lost five in a row, so obviously they wanted to take some
Four.
points. Last four in a row, yeah. So for them it was more about saving face, and it was actually a good opportunity for them to do that because we knew that Leicester would have an eye on their match against Jose Mourinho's Roma in the Conference League. So yeah, a good point taken. Not much to say about it, I guess. So the Norwich City was with Newcastle. I mean, Norwich are as good as done, right? Whereas Newcastle, Bruno Guimaraes, wow, even Jolinton, who has been such a revelation when he has stepped back into midfield, finally, gaining some form. Maybe now that he's gaining form, maybe Eddie Howe will again put him, back into his old position of a striker because it was all about confidence. But now that his confidence is back, maybe we'll see him again as a striker or maybe alongside someone like Chris Wood. So let's see. But yeah, the possibilities are again endless and limitless for someone like Newcastle. Not only with the players that they already have, but also because of the signings that they can actually make. So yeah, kudos. We're gonna have to worry about not just us, but I guess every team is gonna have to worry about Newcastle. Yeah, for next season.
Yeah, right. Let's see. I think Newcastle will be a strong force to be reckoned with from next season. So yeah, that brings us to the end of this podcast, guys. There were three champions that were crowned yesterday, and again, a lot of interesting matches. Again, the same thing will happen today as well. We'll be back tomorrow with a review of Sunday's matches. Till then, take care and thank you so much for your time. Bye bye.
All right, guys.